Hey everyone, chaomix here. So I was on Twitter the other day. Never been a fan of the shiny metal Sonic shoes. Bring back the stretchy hot dog shoes. I'm begging you, Sega. Hot dog shoe supremacy! Banger tweet, I know. I like the hot dog shoes, what can I say? But little did I know a terrible storm was coming after me and my seemingly innocent tweet. I got absolutely obliterated in the quote retweets out of nowhere. I really just don't get it. I thought I was just stating a preference. I like talking about character design, and that tweet was also kind of just a big meme. Was really hoping the Oscar Mayer Wiener truck would have given that away. Why are we not allowed to talk about literally the one article of clothing on Sonic that is known to change across games occasionally? You know what? F you. Today we're gonna talk about Sonic's feet. I mean his shoes. Definitely his shoes, not his feet. And not just his shoes, all of his shoes. All of them, because I'm a spiteful bitch, and can I say, wow, there's a lot of them. So I'll be ranking all of them on a tier list, pretty similar to what I did in my ranking every Sonic ability video, which is a banger video by the way. Go check it out after this one if you haven't seen it. Rankings for each shoe will be determined by originality, utility, and drip. Mostly drip though. Oh, and I'll also be putting the link to this tier list in the description, so if you want to go make one for yourself, you can. I'd love to see it too, so make sure to share it in our Discord server. I'll leave the link to that in the description as well. So let's get to ranking every one of Sonic's shoes. Sonic's feet. I lied, we're talking about Sonic's feet first. Suffice to say, Sonic's feet are, well, there's something. And one of those things is inconsistent. There's actually a few different iterations of them, some giving him more human-like feet, toes and all, like in the TV shows and movie. And then the official art from Sonic Adventure, giving characters these blobby nubs. I say characters rather than Sonic because there actually aren't any official feet pics of Sonic himself in this style. But art exists of Sonic's friends that follow this design, so I think it's safe to assume that his feet would be the same. His feet can either be blue or tan depending on what you're watching or playing, so even the color is inconsistent. Oh, and just getting the images you're seeing on screen was an experience. I had to sift through a lot of, Now, hopefully you never have to. You're welcome. Man, my FBI agent is probably scarred for life. Sonic's feet are going into the cursed tier. Yeah, this tier list is already off to a great start. Sonic's socks. Alright, if we're gonna talk about Sonic's feet, we might as well talk about Sonic's socks too. We can even see them in the same picture with Sonic's feet. They're, pretty standard, I guess. Nothing too out of the ordinary. There's a few other iterations of them with different colors, but they're just as tame. I wish there was more to say on this one. But I'm gonna put Sonic's socks into the C tier, the classic prototype shoes. These shoes were given to Sonic during his conception. You can see them in some of the concept art when Sega was still kind of figuring out what to do with his character design. They're basically the same shoes as we all know today, except they're only one single color, pure red or pure white, depending on which concept image you're looking at. All things considered, they're pretty close to what we have today, but it's surprising how much of a difference the additional color makes. So I'll be putting the classic prototype shoes into the B tier, the classic shoes. Okay, now let's talk about the shoes that started it all. They're the most common pair of shoes in the series, but there are many iterations of them with small differences. For instance, you got the treadless shoes as seen in the classic games, the hot dog shoes from the adventure games, and then the metallic, more stubby looking shoes from the modern games. I like the hot dog shoes, by the way. And yeah, a lot of people were quick to point out on Twitter that the modern iterations of these shoes aren't made of metal. They're made out of a type of leather commonly found in dress shoes. It's an interesting fact, but when I described the shoes as metal, I was kinda just using exaggerated descriptive language to make a point. I know they're not made out of metal. My point was the shoes are as shiny as metal, which never sat well with me. But anyways, we'll be lumping these all into one shoe group. And the classic shoes get to go all the way up into the S tier. What'd you expect? They're classic for a reason. There's a few iterations of the classic shoes that are distinct enough where we can make them into their own separate items though. Like for instance, the Rocket Shoes. The Rocket Shoes make their appearance in Sonic Chaos and Sonic Triple Trouble. They're a type of power-up obtained through an item box that lets Sonic soar forward through the sky. They have the same exact design as the classic shoes, but they have a giant rocket engine attached to the heels. They're a bit ugly, I'm not gonna lie. On top of that, I don't see these being very practical to keep on at all times. I don't know, that rocket engine looks pretty heavy. The Rocket Shoes are going into the D tier, the Propeller Shoes. The Propeller Shoes are exclusive to Sonic Triple Trouble. They allow Sonic to overcome one of his only weaknesses, swimming. By obtaining these shoes through an item box, Sonic is able to basically do the exact same thing as the Rocket Shoes, but in water. The Propeller Shoes maintain the same pattern and color palette as the classic shoes, but they actually have one of the most unique shapes in this entire list. The propellers aren't attached to the shoe. The shoe itself is a huge propeller. So for these reasons, I'm willing to put the Propeller Shoes into the C tier. The Speed Down Boots. Or if you want to get fancy, the Dr. Eggman Deluxe Speed Down Boots. These may be the funniest pair of shoes on this entire list. Basically, Eggman tricks Sonic by stealing his shoes and replacing them while he's asleep with a counterfeit version that slows him down. These shoes are extremely heavy and are only able to be taken off with the power of the Chaos Emeralds. And that's pretty much the plot of Sonic Labyrinth. They revolve almost entirely around these pairs of shoes. They're just a huge nerf to Sonic's speed, which I feel should be enough to justify my ranking for these shoes. Yeah, I gotta put these in the F tier. The Fleetway Blue Sneakers. The blue sneakers make an appearance in the Fleetway Sonic comics. Sonic has this whole origin story where he's just a regular, not fast hedgehog. His quills and fur color are more accurate to an actual hedgehog, and he's got a pair of light blue sneakers to go along with it, just like a real-life hedgehog. I'm gonna be real, these sneakers are pretty dope. The only thing is they look a bit scuffed up. So with all that in mind, I'm gonna put the Fleetway Blue sneakers into the B tier. The Atomic Relativity Boots. The Atomic Relativity Boots appear in the cartoon The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog during the episode Black Bot Pirate. They're pretty similar looking to a pair of red high-top Converse, but with buckle straps and a radiation symbol on the side of them. These shoes let Sonic run at the literal speed of light, which allows him to travel through time and space. They're pretty dang OP, but they look a wee bit dorky, like a cheesy sci-fi version of red high-top Converse, which are a great pair of shoes by the way. I have a pair in real life that I wear all the time. The Atomic Relativity Boots are going into the A tier for their combination of style and raw power. The Anti-Gravity Sneakers. These shoes make an appearance in Sonic Underground as well as Sonic Sat AM. They allow Sonic to walk on ceilings or activate air jets to push himself up into the air, which isn't all that impressive to tell the truth. Technically, Sonic can already do the former if he's going fast enough, right? And he also already has hops, so I'm not sure what difference the air jets really make. Their design is essentially the same as the classic shoes, but their added abilities aren't all that great. These ones are going into the D tier. The OVA Shoes. The OVA shoes are great, but we never actually see Sonic wear them. In the movie, Blathers over here is seen wearing this entire getup along with the shoes, and it's mentioned that it's apparently Sonic's favorite outfit. So yeah, it's confirmed that these are another pair of Sonic shoes. They have a really fun look to them. I actually love this entire getup, but the shoes are especially great. My favorite aspects are the part that points up at the end of the shoe and the purple and yellow color palette. These shoes are easily in the A tier. The Saturn Shoes. The Saturn Shoes, or at least what I'll be calling them, appear in some promotional art during the Saturn era of Sonic. They're the same as the classic shoes, the hot dog variation to be specific, hell yeah, but they have this white and yellow buzzsaw pattern in the inner middle of each shoe. You might also notice that the strap going across his shoe has a darker, more metallic looking color to it. For the most part, these shoes keep the spirit of the classic shoes while having some neat little garnishes sprinkled in. Overall, I'd say they belong in the B tier. The Adventure Concept Art Shoes. When rebooting Sonic's character design for the adventure games and on, a few pieces of concept art were drawn before we landed on the stylish, green-eyed Sonic we all know today. There was one drawing in particular that sported a pair of shoes pretty similar to the classic shoe design, however, the treads on the shoes were much more boot-like, and most interestingly, the buckle design was slightly changed. Instead of the buckle weaving in and out of the shoe strap, the straps are tied to the ends of the buckle, pulling it in opposite directions. It's a pretty tiny difference, but I think it looks really cool. So I'm gonna put the Adventure Concept Art shoes into the B tier. The Adventure 2 Concept Art shoes. Sonic Adventure 2 also had some concept shoes. You can really see them in this specific illustration with what looks like a beta version of the gun truck. These shoes lack the iconic white strap previous iterations usually have, and instead have this interesting looking guard plate on the sides. There's also a tongue to the shoe, which seems to replace the sock that Sonic usually has. They are pretty unique, but the design isn't really blowing me away or anything. It also doesn't help that this illustration doesn't have any color, so it's impossible to know what the color palette would have been like. The Adventure 2 concept art shoes are going into the C tier. The Soap Shoes. The Soap Shoes are one of the most interesting shoes on this list. They have roots in a real-life brand that Sega partnered with during the last minutes of development for Sonic Adventure 2. There's some intriguing history to this brand, and I actually made an entire video about it a while ago, so go check that out after this video if you want to learn all about the Soap Shoes. It's a wild ride, trust me. Anyways, the Soap Shoes are a lot more complex in their design than the classic shoes that Sonic usually wears. They're more boot-shaped as well. The most notable feature is the grind plate on the arch of the foot, perfect for rail grinding. A huge and frankly one of my favorite game mechanics from the series. These shoes are a fan favorite, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't adore them either. The Soap Shoes are going straight up into the S tier, no ifs, ands, or buts. The Sonic Extreme Shoes. These shoes come from the cancelled Sonic game, which would have been the first instance of Sonic and friends racing on hoverboards, something later on adopted by Sonic Riders. The Sonic Extreme Shoes are very similar to the Soap Shoes. At a first glance, you'd maybe mistake them for being exactly the same. However, they have their share of differences. They have some added tiny details, especially on the top part of the shoe. There's actually a tongue that flaps out over the top, and even it has a ton of detail in it. One criticism I often see about the Soap Shoes is how complex their design is. And while I personally don't mind it, I feel like the Sonic Extreme Shoes actually do cross this line for me. All the crazy extra details definitely feel like they're pretty unnecessary. The Sonic Extreme Shoes are going into the D tier. These next sets of shoes all come from and are unique to the Sonic X anime. Let's go over them all. The Nitro Blasters. The Nitro Blasters appear in the Meta X arc of Sonic X, and allow Sonic to kick energy blasts at his enemies Dragon Ball Z style. On top of having an awesome ability, they actually look pretty sick, which, spoiler alert, will be a reoccurring theme for all of these Sonic X shoes. They have this really cool white plate that leaves some circular gaps for the red in the shoe to shine through. I'm guessing this could be where the energy ball's shape comes from. These shoes just look absolutely sick and have amazing powers, so these are going into the A tier. The Hover Shoes. The Hover Shoes are another pair that appear in the Meta X arc of Sonic X. These shoes are based off of Shadow's own iconic hover shoes and function exactly the same way. Sonic uses these shoes to hover above both ground and water, so they're decently useful. It'd normally be a bit weird to see Sonic wearing Shadow's shoes, but the changed color palette to match Sonic's usual shoes makes it work. The hover shoes are going into the B tier. The Hover Shoe variant. There's also a variant of the hover shoes that kind of resembles the rocket shoes we discussed earlier. Not only do these shoes have thrusters on the bottoms like Shadow's, but they have a giant thruster on the heels. They have slightly different abilities compared to the other hover shoes, and I'd say they resemble Sonic shoes more than Shadow's. They're their own thing, which is why I'm putting them as a separate item. The hover shoe variant, while different in design and slightly different in the nuance of its utility, are going into the B tier along with the original hover shoes. The Power Shoes. The Power Shoes are our final unique pair of shoes originating from Sonic X, again in the Meta X arc. This art just has the best drip, what can I say? These shoes are able to protrude saw blades out from underneath in order to shred anything daring enough to get in its way. They allow Sonic to move without having to run and absolutely tear through anything they come in contact with. Despite their destructive abilities, they actually look pretty soft. Their utility is good and their design is decently unique, so I'm putting the power shoes into the B tier as well. The human Sonic shoes. Alright, so while this character design is kind of cursed, the shoes themselves are pretty neat. They're a bit overly designed, I'll admit, but so is everything else on this character. As you can see, this iteration of Sonic is decked out in all sorts of technology, and his shoes are no different. And they've got this antenna in the back that does God knows what. It's a pretty unique take on the shoes though, so I'll give them that. Black seems to be the primary color, while red takes more of a back seat for these pairs of shoes. For this particular design, I think it works, but if these shoes were on actual video game Sonic, I'm not sure if the results would be the same. Overall, I think the human Sonic shoes can go into the C tier. These next set of shoes are all sports related, so I'm gonna go over them back to back because it just kinda makes sense that way. There's a lot of these, so I'll try to power through them. The classic soccer shoes. The classic soccer shoes are the first sports shoes on our list. The artwork that has these shoes is actually the reference source of this pose from Sonic Forces. The only difference is his shoes. They're very similar to the classic shoes design, but have more textured socks, a tongue that flaps down onto the shoe, and treads that have these circular grips. This one is going into the C tier. The modern soccer shoes. The modern soccer shoes have a similar circular shape on the treads. They have multiple white straps, which kinda just makes them look like a candy cane or something. Besides the treads of the shoes looking really cool, the rest of it doesn't look all that stylish. These ones are going into the D tier. The modern soccer shoe variant. There's actually one more variation of the soccer shoes that are pretty different but seem to at least take some inspiration from the previous pair. These shoes have laces instead of the candy cane straps and an interesting pattern of white lines. The only thing I'm not a huge fan of are the treads. Not the biggest fan of the maroon and yellow color palette, which is something we're going to be seeing a lot of in these sports shoes. The modern soccer shoe variant is going into the D tier. The baseball shoes. The baseball shoes are actually extremely similar to the modern soccer shoe variant that we just talked about. The differences are pretty small, but you can see that the pattern of lines is different as well as the added yellow lines. What looks like the tongue of the shoe is also white and yellow rather than red and yellow. The biggest difference is the shape of the treads, however they share the same weird color palette of maroon and yellow. These ones are also going into the D tier. The Speed Battle baseball shoes. There's one more pair of baseball shoes found in Sonic Speed Battle. They're more boot-like and have a black, white, and light blue color scheme. Not gonna lie, they look pretty good. They aren't overly designed and look pretty styling. I'm actually going to put these into the B tier, the football shoes. The football shoes are ones that I almost overlooked actually. They have Sonic's iconic white straps going across, but they also have a bunch of horizontal stripes going through them. Again, they have that maroon and yellow color palette, which I'm just not a fan of. The football shoes aren't half bad, but all these sports shoes have a very similar look, so I'm going to put them into the D tier with most of the rest of them. The basketball shoes. You'll never be ballin'. These shoes, surprise, are a lot like all of the other ones we just showed off. The thing that doesn't sit so right with me is how they look so boot-like. Basketball shoes should be more sneaker-like. Also, these shoes have a Velcro strap and laces. Make up your mind already, jeez. Unfortunately, I gotta put these guys in the D tier. They ain't very ballin'. The mountain climbing shoes. The mountain climbing shoes are kind of a breath of fresh air after all of those samey sports shoes. While yes, they're basically the classic shoes, they have a few neat details that set them apart. The first one is the tongue of the shoe. It's weird because it comes out from inside of the sock and flaps over in front of it. How the heck does that even work? Anyway, Sonic also has the spiky cleats on the bottom to help plant himself onto the terrain. Because wanna know what happens if you don't have the spikes? You almost fucking die like Tails over here. The mountain climbing shoes are going into the B tier. The classic skiing shoes. The classic skiing shoes are one of the most unique pairs of shoes on this entire list. First of all, the color palette is very vibrant with red, purple, and even hints of light blue. The shape is also very unique. They're very tall and come up almost past Sonic's knees. I'm a big fan of the look of these shoes, but unfortunately they're skiing shoes. They're bulky and built to be attached to a ski, so I don't imagine they'd be all that useful on their own. I'm willing to put them into the B tier purely for the swag though. The modern skiing shoes. Modern Sonic has a pair of ski shoes as well. They're a lot more simplistic and follow the core design of the classic shoes a lot more though. At the very least, these ones look a lot more mobile if you were to detach them from the skis. You'd possibly even be able to use them as somewhat normal shoes. And they do be looking pretty slick, but not as slick as the previous ski shoes in my opinion. Nonetheless, I'm going to put the modern skiing shoes into the B tier along with the classic skiing shoes. The Extreme Gear Shoes. The Extreme Gear Shoes are very reminiscent of the soap shoes, but the main difference is that they have laces instead of a strap. Also, the material they're made out of looks a lot more soft, like maybe it's made out of fabric instead of leather. Overall, they're a lot more simplistic as they don't have all the crazy decals or grind play like the soap shoes. These shoes are great and take what makes the soap shoes work so well and adapts it into its own thing. I'm thinking the Extreme Gear Shoes are an easy A tier. The Dark Spine Shoes. Or maybe feet? Actually, I'm pretty sure these are his feet. They're pretty blobby like how Sonic's feet would be. I really like the color scheme at least. They have a white stripe where his strap usually is and a gold ring where his sock cup would be. But purely for the fact that I can't tell if they're his feet or not, these won't be going into the curse tier like the other ones. I think the Dark Spine Shoes or feet can go into the C tier. The Gem Shoes. The Gem Shoes make their first and only appearance in Sonic 06. The Gem Shoes have a slot where the lace of the shoe would be to fit a gem. And Sonic is able to collect 7 different gems over the course of the game to place into these slots and grant him unique abilities. Unfortunately, this gameplay mechanic was only ever half finished, so you're able to use these abilities as frequently as you want without any cost or penalty. You know what, maybe that isn't unfortunate, that's actually pretty fucking awesome. Besides their overpowered abilities, these shoes just look absolutely amazing. I feel like they're a good mix of the complexity of the soap shoes with the compact shape of the classic shoes. And especially since they come in a slew of different colors, the entire point is that they're very customizable and there's most likely at least one color that you'd find appealing. For me, it's definitely purple. The Gem Shoes are going up into the A tier. These next sets of shoes are a bit weird as they have entire 3D models created but never physically appear on Sonic himself. These are the power-up shoes from Sonic Unleashed. There's only 4 of them, so let's go one by one and rank each. The Wing Shoes. The Wing Shoes are Sonic shoes but with wings on the ends. Reminds me of Mario's wing cap from Mario 64. These are going into the C tier. The Cleats. Okay, now these shoes are actually made of metal, and they also look pretty metal. They're studded and have a bunch of spikes on the bottom. Overall, pretty sick design, and I'd love to see Sonic curb stomp someone with these. The cleats are going into the B tier. The Gold Shoes. The Gold Shoes are just Sonic shoes, but gold. That's literally it. But they look pretty cool, so I'm gonna put them into the B tier. The Spring Shoes. The Spring Shoes are Sonic shoes, but with some spring bullshit on the bottom. They look really tacky. I'm putting these into the F tier. The Werehog Cleats. We got one more pair of shoes from Sonic Unleashed we gotta rank, and those are the Werehog Cleats. These are yet another pair of shoes I want to see Sonic curb stomp someone with. The Werehog would have been perfect for it too. But luckily, we get to see a lot of attacks that basically utilize the spiky parts of the shoes. I really love how these shoes curve up at the end so we can see a lot of the spikes as well. The strap across Sonic's shoe becomes metallic and even that part has spikes on it. And last but not least, Sonic's sock becomes all teared up and flares out in the back. It looks so cool. These shoes are pretty dang good. I think they deserve a spot in the A tier. The Excalibur Boots. The Excalibur boots are a part of Sonic's golden armor during his Excalibur transformation. While Excalibur Sonic is insanely powerful, I'd imagine wearing these while doing everyday Sonic things would be pretty cumbersome. You probably wouldn't be able to run around in these very well, and you'd totally trip over yourself and eat shit. I wouldn't exactly say these have any drip either, but nonetheless, I'd put the Excalibur boots into the C tier. The Sonic Boom Shoes. The Sonic Boom Shoes are unique, I'll give them that, but not necessarily in a good way. They almost remind me of Knuckles' shoes with the Lego looking piece on top, but it's all almost entirely covered by sports tape. The socks are pretty droopy, and above that you also have even more sports tape. They aren't the worst shoe design in the world, but they're also far from good. The Sonic Boom shoes are going into the D tier, the pre-order glow shoes. There was a pre-order bonus for Sonic Boom that included a neon glow effect to all the characters. It's actually pretty sick. This applies to Sonic and his shoes as well. This design is exactly the same as the normal Sonic Boom shoes, but glowy. I'm a sucker for RGB and neon, so this is already a big step up from the vanilla Boom shoes. They almost remind me of a glowy version of the Darkspine shoes or feet, but that's only because you can't entirely tell what's going on down there with all the bloom. I'd actually put the glow shoes into the B tier, the power absorbent insoles. These shoes are used in the Sonic Boom TV show by Eggman in order to use Sonic's speed against him. Running in these shoes actually generates power for Eggman's giant robot. Oopsies. Looking past this, the design of these shoes isn't the worst, but they do look a bit goofy. They're pretty big and have a bunch of alarm lights sticking out in all directions. These guys are being sent into the F tier, the Olympic shoes. The Olympic shoes appear in a few of the more recent Olympic Games spin-offs. I'm just gonna say it, I love these shoes. It's like if the soap shoes and the Extreme Gear shoes had a child. While the Extreme Gear shoes opt to use laces instead of straps, the Olympic shoes use straps like some of the other great shoes on this list. There's just something about the white strap that beats out laces almost every single time for me. The Olympic shoes are actually another S tier shoe, the horseback riding shoes. There's one more pair of shoes from the Olympic Games spin-offs that we need to talk about, and those are the horseback riding shoes. There's a minigame where you ride around on horseback, and Sonic and friends dress the part and everything. This obviously includes their shoes as well. Unfortunately, they aren't super interesting. They're very boot-like and have a pretty dark, bland color palette. The horseback riding shoes are going into the D tier, the Lego shoes. LEGO Dimensions has some pretty neat Sonic DLC that reimagines Sonic as a Lego character. It's pretty adorable. But wow, look at what they did to his shoes. They just aren't. It's like someone ripped off the stickers of all the details that should have been on there. They're just naked. The LEGO shoes are kind of cursed, so I'm gonna put them into the cursed tier. The Mario shoes. The Mario shoes appear in this crossover illustration depicting both Sonic and Mario in some colorful clothing. For the most part, they have matching outfits, shoes included. So that means Sonic is wearing Mario's shoes. Honestly, it's pretty cursed. Another pair of shoes unfortunately going into the cursed tier. The Link boots. Sonic Lost World has some cool Zelda DLC that puts Sonic into a Link outfit. It's pretty fun, look at him go. The thing is, the costume doesn't exactly translate over to Sonic's proportions the best. They look great on Link, but Sonic just doesn't look good in brown potato sack boots. Sonic's shoes should be as colorful as him, so these dull boots don't quite fit his style. I feel like the Link boots belong in the D tier. The prototype movie Sonic shoes. You guys remember this abomination? Well, he actually had his own unique pair of shoes to go along with him. And I gotta say, they're actually pretty decent looking. You can see the Puma logo on them, and I believe they're based off of the official Puma Flyer runner shoes. Pretty sure they're custom because I couldn't find any exact matches online. Despite the horrific design of the original movie Sonic, these are a solid pair of running shoes, so I'm throwing them into the B tier. The Baby Movie Sonic shoes. Baby Sonic is adorable, and he's got stubby little shoes to match. Or maybe they're boots. It's kind of hard to tell because they're so small. They're brown, have laces, and you can see a bit of sock at the very top. Actually, now that I think about it, they kind of look like Ugg boots. Again, I've never been a fan of brown shoes on Sonic. It's a similar deal to the Mario and Link shoes. Because of this, I'll be putting the Baby Movie Sonic shoes into the D tier. Movie Sonic's old sneakers. The old sneakers are a complete downgrade from even what Baby Sonic had. But I feel like in terms of the plot, it really contrasts how good Baby Sonic had it, because Sonic's life has been really raggedy since living on his own. These shoes are gross and probably smell terrible, and they're literally held together with tape. Actually, Sonic has an entire stash of beat up shoes, and they're all equally as gross. If they weren't so beat up, they'd probably look pretty cool, I guess. It shouldn't be too much of a surprise that these old sneakers are going into the F tier. The movie Sonic Pumas. The movie Sonic Pumas are just, wow, what a glow up from the old sneakers. Now, these shoes are, dare I say, one of the best looking shoes on this entire list. Whenever I'd look at the classic shoes, I'd always think they look cool, but only on a cartoon character. But the Puma shoes, I want these in real life. They look that good. They somehow keep the design of the classic shoes while also making them into practical, real pairs of running shoes. There's a few mods out there to equip them to video game Sonic, and they look amazing on him too. I just love this design a lot. These bad boys are a definite S tier. The Puma replacement shoes. So because of the nature of the Puma product placement, money and contracts are involved. So to avoid this for some of the promotional material for the Sonic movie, Sonic was given an alternate pair of running shoes to wear in place of the Pumas. These shoes have actual shoelaces instead of the Velcro strap going across like in the official Puma shoes. All in all, these shoes aren't half bad, so I'm willing to put them into the C tier. The Sonic Speed Battle Christmas Elf Shoes. I don't know a lot about Sonic Speed Battle, so forgive me if I get anything slightly wrong. But classic Sonic had an unlockable costume that featured him in a Christmas elf costume. This costume included some little elf shoes with a curl and a bell at the end. I guess the entire point of these shoes is to look dumb, but at the same time, they look dumb. I'm putting these into the F tier. The Sonic Dash Pirate Boots. Sonic Dash is another game similar to Sonic Speed Battle that, again, I don't know too much about. But what I do know is that you can dress Sonic up like a pirate, which is pretty awesome. Most importantly, he's got these big old pirate boots. And yes, they're brown, but they have enough extra detail in them as well as some additional colors that I'm willing to put them a bit higher up on the tier list than some of the other brown shoes. The pirate boots are going into the C tier. The Sonic Prime Shoes. The Sonic Prime shoes were revealed in the, at the time of making this video, leaked concept art for the upcoming TV show. The art depicts Sonic with a never-before-seen style of shoe. It keeps the iconic color scheme of the classic shoes, but the shape is unlike anything we've ever seen before. They're very similar to a style of high-end running shoes that you'd find today. The only thing is, we don't exactly know if they do anything special or if they're just a regular pair of shoes. I definitely like the look, and I'm excited to see if there's any kind of special use that they have, so for now I'm gonna put them into the B tier. And these are all of Sonic's shoes ranked. I think it's safe to say Sonic has drip. It's kind of crazy to think of him having all these shoes because for the most part he only wears the one throughout most of the games. But I guess with the series being 30 years old at this point, it makes sense that Sonic has all these different shoes that have popped up across all the different things he's been in. I had a lot of fun making this video, but I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of out of spite. It made me pretty upset that I got attacked for just discussing simple character designs. For some reason, fans discussing stuff like that is framed as fans complaining. But I think we should be allowed to have open and civil discussions about things like that. People want to talk about their favorite shade of blue on Sonic? How about their favorite iteration of his mouth? I'm a Nike swoosh kind of guy myself. How about the length of Sonic's quills? Let them, there's literally no harm in it. Anyways, this was just one of the many designs on Sonic that changes throughout the series. So let's continue to discuss things like this because as far as I'm concerned, they deserve to be talked about. Hey everyone, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. If you like what you saw, leave a like and subscribe for more content similar to this. I upload on a near weekly basis. In the comments below, let me know your favorite Sonic shoe. Or to take that even further, make your own tier list and share it in our community Discord. I'll leave the link to that in the description. And maybe you noticed the chaomix hoodie I've been wearing throughout this entire video. If you're interested in it or any other chaomix merch, you can check below this video or go to my channel and go to the store tab for more information. And last but not least, I need to thank my wonderful channel members. You guys are my #1 motivators and the biggest reason I'm able to keep going with this entire YouTube thing. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. If you're also interested in becoming a channel member for only $2 along with getting some pretty cool perks, press the join button beneath this video or the channel membership link in the description. And with all that being said, I hope everyone has a fantastic day. Peace.